Midwest Showcase Camp, held this past weekend in Chicago, gave us a great chance to see many of the region's best kickers, punters, and snappers compete head-to-head. The windy conditions and the different drills allowed us to see how the close to 100 athletes competed and compared to one another in different events. One of the stars from this weekend's camp was Austin Siebert. Austin's a 2015 kicker from Illinois who showed tremendous leg strength on kickoffs, putting 5 kickoffs through the uprights, making 8 out of 10 field goals, and truly established himself as potentially the best kicker in the 2015 class. One of the stars from this past weekend was college transfer Nick Bartolotta. Nick made 9 out of 10 field goals in the charting session and won the field goal competition at camp. Nick also finished in the top 5 during the charting kickoff phase and truly hit a clean, high ball that was repeatable that many college coaches would desire. Another kicker that stood out in this weekend's camp was Mick Ellis. Mick came up from the state of Texas and is an outstanding 2014 recruit. Mick made 7 out of 10 field goals in the charting phase of camp and won the kickoff competition in a heated battle against Josh Pollock. Mick's kickoffs consistently traveled over 75 yards and had close to 4 seconds of hang time. Josh Pollock, a 2014 recruit from Illinois, may have had the camp's most overall impressive performance. Josh had a solid showing in the field goal charting phase, the kickoff competition phase, and the punting phase of camp. He finished in the top 5 in many of those categories and has a smooth, refined stroke in all 3 disciplines. 2014 punter Colin Dowling had the most consistent performance as a punter at camp. Colin won the punt competition and was the most outstanding performer in the drill work phase of camp. Colin also finished top 5 in the charting phase at camp as a punter. Colin's consistent 2-step approach allowed him to hit a consistent ball that spiraled and turned over, and his repeatability was beyond his years. 2 other outstanding punters at camp were 2014 prospects Peter Deppe from Michigan and Colton Huff from Nebraska. Colton and Peter consistently hit balls that spiraled and turned over in the windy conditions at camp. Peter ended up winning the charting phase, and Colton had an outstanding showing in the drill work phase as well. 2014 kicker John Dubik from Illinois had a solid showing at camp, finishing 5th overall on kickoffs and doing an outstanding job in the drill work phase of camp, being the most consistent performer in the afternoon from inside of 50 yards. John is a solid ball striker and hits a clean ball off the ground and should be highly sought after as a kicker this upcoming summer. 4 other outstanding 2014 prospects who had solid showings at camp were Emmett Carpenter from the state of Wisconsin, Shane Hines from Michigan, Spencer Howe from Michigan, and Kenny Rowe from Illinois. All 4 guys showed well during portions of camp and showed college-level talent as a field goal, kicker, and kickoff specialist. Bronson Bruno, a 6'5", 210-pound snapper from the state of Minnesota, had an outstanding showing at camp. He won the snapping competition held at the end of the camp and showed well during the charting phase, averaging a .69 on his snaps to the target. Bronson has a great frame and is a good athlete and should be highly sought after this summer as a snapper at the Division I level. Another snapper who had an outstanding day was Chris Ross. This 2014 snapper is 6'2", 235 pounds, and he won the charting portion of camp by connecting on the most snaps through the target. Chris is a solid performer and should be highly looked at for this upcoming summer as well as a long snapper. The Midwest Showcase Camp this past weekend allowed us to see many of the region's best kickers, punters, and snappers perform in a neutral setting. We are excited to see what will be happening this upcoming weekend as we travel to Atlanta and New Jersey and see many of those regions' best kickers, punters, and snappers compete head-to-head. In the coming weeks, keep an eye out for the Kohl's national rankings that will be coming out after the Showcase Camp Tour is ended, and many of these athletes mentioned will be listed highly in those rankings.